You guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about questions because I believe the quality of your life can be determined by the quality of questions that you ask yourself. And I know this coaching athletes on their mental performance and pitchers as a pitching coach, the quality of my lessons is determined by the quality of the questions I ask my athletes after what they have been taught. So before, during, and after every session, I'm asking them questions. One of the questions I love asking is, can you teach me what I just taught you? And I ask them to show me, walk me through it, verbalize it. What this allows me to do as a coach is it gives me insight into what they really know about that particular skill. And it allows me to fill in the gaps of what they don't. And then that leads to additional questions and instruction. So when my students can really explain the how and the why behind the skill or the particular mechanic, when they can teach it, they understand it more clearly and they retain it. They're also more likely to work on it because they understand how it's going to help them improve their performance, their overall performance. But other questions I may ask are, how do you throw your curveball? What about your slider? How do you throw it? Teach me how. Like, I know nothing. Start with the grip. Take me all the way to release. Now I can see what they know because as they teach it, they tell me, they're also showing me how they're doing it. And again, I fill in the gaps, and that deepens their understanding of the pitch or the concept being taught. Now, other common questions I ask may be, how does it feel when you rotate your hips before your upper body? In pitching, we call this delayed shoulder rotation. I might ask, what drills do you think you can do to help you perform that skill better? Again, I'm trying to get them to think for themselves. What does your arm feel like when you stay closed longer? Where does this velocity really come from? And the way that they answer the questions, that can guide the rest of the session that day. Also, when I have them watch a video of a major league pitcher or a video of themselves throwing, I often will ask them, when you watch this video, what do you see? What do you see that you're doing well? What needs improvement? And this gets them to actually think for themselves and solve their own mechanical insufficiencies. And they fill in their own gaps. And oftentimes at the beginning of a session, I'll ask, what 2 skills do you feel you need to learn the most that will take you to the next level with your pitching? Again, this is feedback that tells me what they're thinking, what they've been thinking about during the week, and it also prepares them during the week as they focus on their drills to start paying attention because they literally know these types of questions are coming. And what this does is it builds awareness and ownership. So after I show them a particular drill for a skill they're learning, I may ask, how do you think this drill is going to help you? Basically, what do you get out of doing it? And when they know the why behind it, they're more likely to put into practice and establish consistency with their drills. Now, I think a great follow-up question to that one that I just asked is, how many of those drills do you think you should do every day? Now, this is a loaded question because, or how long should you focus on that particular skill? I'll actually let them come up with it because they might say 30 a day for 2 weeks or a month. We don't know how long it will take for them to build the muscle memory enough for it to show up in games. But ultimately, the real answer is until they can't do it wrong. Again, I let them take ownership and make those decisions with some guidance, of course, from me. Now, at the end of a lesson, I may ask, now I don't bombard them with questions, but what did you learn that you didn't know before? How does this change your throwing? And when it comes to mental performance training, these patterns of asking questions, they're really no different. After a few sessions, they may give me some insight on something they're struggling with, whether it be self-talk. It might be confidence in a certain game situations when the pressure's on. And then I'll ask them, what tools do you already have or you've already been taught to help you overcome that particular thing? And I use this question because it gets them to really understand, one, the true value of the conversations we're having about their mental game. That there are real solutions that they may have the answers to already. They just need to know how and when to best utilize them in certain circumstances. Now, let me give you an example of what we talk about in a session when it comes to how we can eliminate negative stories. And some questions I could ask surrounding that topic and how those questions can help them reframe their own stories. So first of all, I try to build an awareness. We have to be very aware of the narrative we are telling ourselves because that guides our perception. It guides decision making and the actions that we take. Your stories also guide what you believe about your environment, who you are as a person, who you are as an athlete, what you think about money, school, childhood, your ability to perform, really everything, right? So here's a question I often ask after we talk about some of their process-oriented goals. So is there a story that you've been telling yourself about why you haven't been able to accomplish this specific goal or why you can't accomplish this goal? Because a lot of their stories can be negative about themselves. So I tell them how to start eliminating these negative stories and create new patterns of thinking. And I can do this by asking a series of questions. Again, questions are very powerful. Eliminating negative stories. Is this story true? Is the story that you're telling yourself true? Is it really true? How can you know for sure it is true? Basically, what evidence do you have? What are you missing? Is another good follow-up question to that last one. And what is the real story? And as we walk through this process with them and discuss it, they learn through asking the right questions to drop the negative story, and it often happens quickly. And that can help them reframe it. Being able to drop the story maybe they've had in their mind for a long time about why they can't do something. And that allows them to deframe it, and what they deframe, they can build up in a different way and create a new story with a more positive outlook and eventual outcome. So as a coach, I feel it's my responsibility to help my students think for themselves and learn how to ask the right questions. And we know if you ask better questions, you get better answers. So here's some powerful questions I may ask depending on the topic of discussion that day. When pressure hits, what voice shows up? I love that one. What is the tone of that voice? Perhaps I love that one even better. What's the tone? What tone are you using? What are you asking or telling yourself before competition? Is your self-talk building confidence, or is that self-talk feeding doubt? And when you make a mistake, what question comes next? One more. Are you focused on outcome or execution? And as we walk through questions, these types of questions, they begin to create their own questions and begin to master their self-talk. So if any of this resonated with you today, I invite you to, first of all, click on the link below, like it, subscribe to get more of this content, and if you're ready to train your mind with the same intensity that you train your body, I'd love to work with you. So visit the link below, dangazway.com, fill out the form, and let's connect and train the most important part of your game, and that is your mindset. Thank you for watching, and we'll do it again next time.